Most modern light aircraft use engine-driven suction pumps to generate a vacuum which induces an airflow into the gyro-operated instruments. The airflow is directed over buckets formed in the rim of the rotor of the instrument gyros, and this spins them round at very high speed. The instruments which are usually powered by this system are the attitude indicator and the heading indicator, sometimes called the directional gyro. The vacuum system consists of a means of generating a vacuum, a method of controlling the vacuum, a filter to clean the air being sucked through the instruments, and the necessary pipework to join all the components together. Methods of generating the vacuum range from connecting the system to the inlet manifold of a normally aspirated piston engine, to a venturi placed in the airstream, through to either engine-driven or electrically driven vacuum pumps. Older aircraft may have a venturi tube to generate the vacuum. The venturi tube works on the principle that when it's placed in the airstream, its effect is to accelerate the air as it passes through. When the air accelerates, its pressure drops. At the narrowest point of the venturi, the speed of the air is greatest and its pressure lowest. Once through the narrowest point, the air decelerates and its pressure rises once more. Placing the suction tube at the point of lowest pressure makes use of the partial vacuum thus generated. It must be appreciated that this system will only work reliably when sufficient air is flowing through the venturi. This may not happen for some time after the aircraft has become airborne. The elapsed time will allow the partial vacuum to become effective in driving the gyros fast enough to give the correct indications on the instruments. A few aircraft are fitted with an inlet manifold suction system. This works on the principle that whenever a normally aspirated piston engine is running, there is a depression created in the inlet manifold. This depression is greatest when the engine is just ticking over, with the throttle almost fully closed, and gets less as the throttle is opened. The partial vacuum thus created at low to medium engine speeds should certainly be sufficient to drive the instrument gyros at high speed. Some early light aircraft, those built in the 1960s, were fitted with wet vacuum pumps. They used metal vanes which were lubricated with engine oil. Wet vacuum pumps wore out slowly and gradually and were very reliable. Most modern light aircraft since about 1970 have used what are termed dry vacuum pumps to power their suction system. They are called dry because they use self-lubricating graphite vanes which rotate within an eccentric aluminium cavity. Dry vacuum pumps are generally very reliable. However, when they fail, they do so catastrophically and without warning. To ensure that a failure cannot damage the engine's accessory drive, the pump drive incorporates a shear coupling, which will break if the pump's input torque exceeds its normal operating figure by any significant amount. If the drive does shear, then of course the gyro-driven instruments will cease to function. To cover for this eventuality, some aircraft have an electrically driven auxiliary vacuum pump, which will provide an independent backup in the event of an engine-driven pump failure. Air-driven gyro instruments are designed to operate with a pressure differential of about 5 inches of mercury. Modern engine-driven vacuum pumps are designed to produce a large surplus of airflow through the instruments, even when the engine is only running slowly on the ground. At engine cruise RPM, the pumps increase their capacity by a factor of 8 or more, and, as a consequence, if the suction was uncontrolled, the gyros would be driven far too fast. A constant airflow through the gyros is maintained by the pressure regulator, which admits sufficient air to leak into the system downstream of the gyros to limit the pressure differential across them to about 5 inches of mercury. The pressure regulator in most systems is adjustable. The vacuum or suction gauge is connected to read the pressure differential across the gyro-driven instruments. Most suction gyro instruments require that the gauge reads 5 inches of mercury to ensure that they operate correctly. Ambient air enters the system through a vacuum filter. This ensures that the gyros are fed with only clean air that has had dirt and other contaminants removed from it. When the filter is first fitted to the system, there is almost no pressure drop across it. Dry vacuum pumps are very vulnerable to contamination by liquids. The graphite vanes are designed to operate in an absolutely dry environment, and if any form of liquid, for instance water, oil or engine cleaning fluid, gets into the pump, then the vanes will be destroyed. Another form of contamination which will quickly destroy a dry pump is carbon. When a pump fails, it will do so suddenly, generating a cloud of carbon fragments which can lodge in the outlet pipes of the pump. If the system is not meticulously cleaned when a replacement pump is being fitted, then there is a danger that these fragments will fall back into it. If this is the case, then the replacement pump will not last long. Pump failure can also be brought on through it becoming hot, because it's having to work too hard to produce the required suction level. This can be the result of a partially blocked filter, or perhaps a hose in the system collapsing or having a kink in it. If the pressure regulator is adjusted to bring the system pressure back to its normal operating level, then the pump will be working harder to produce the same results in the cockpit. A pump that is working too hard will run hot and will fail prematurely. If there is a system malfunction, there are 2 indications in most aircraft cockpits to warn the pilot of vacuum system failure. They are the suction gauge and the low vacuum warning light. A further clue may be obtained from the operation, or otherwise, of the gyro-driven instruments. If the suction gauge is showing system failure by indicating either low or no suction, and at the same time both the gyro compass and the attitude indicator appear to be functioning, then the problem would seem to lie with the suction gauge itself. Is the gyro compass telling you that you are not maintaining a steady heading, and is the attitude indicator showing wings level? If the answer is yes to either or both of these questions, then you have to determine where your problem lies. If both the instruments appear to be giving erroneous indications, then it's a fair assumption that the suction system has failed. This, of course, should already have been flagged up to you by the suction gauge and the low vacuum warning light. If, on the other hand, only one or the other of the attitude indicator or heading indicator appears to be telling lies, then your flying instructor should have given you the ammunition to enable you to determine the correct course of action. If you determine that your engine-driven vacuum pump has failed and your aircraft is fitted with an auxiliary vacuum pump, now is the time to select it on. A couple of words of caution, however. First, be aware that the electrical load that these pumps place on your system is quite substantial. It may be that you will have to consider load shedding of electrical services in order that you do not compound your misery with an alternator failure as well. Secondly, the strength of the magnetic field generated by the electric motor in the pump is such that it can cause compass errors of plus or minus 10 degrees. It would be a good idea to note the magnetic compass reading before and after selection of the auxiliary vacuum pump. Your aircraft may have inlet manifold suction fitted as a reserve for the normal vacuum system. It should be selected as a backup as soon as you are sure of the indications that your engine-driven vacuum pump has failed. Remember, though, that at high engine power settings, the depression in the inlet manifold may not be sufficient to create the required pressure differential to drive the aircraft instruments. It may be necessary to reduce the throttle setting until your suction gauge indicates that you have regained enough vacuum. In the unfortunate event that you do suffer a failure of the suction system, and you have no backup system, then you'll have to revert to the limited panel flying technique taught to you by your flying instructor.